Thank you, Abhijit ji. Happy New Year to all of you. Happy New Year and Namaskar. And Abhijit ji and my team discussed the best way of presenting the DIISHA pilot. DIISHA in terms of its ambitions, objectives, DIISHA in terms of its framework and approach, and we thought the best way of doing this would be delivered through the mechanics of a video. This is not an Elsevier video, it's a DIISHA video. So I thought that let's first play the video and then I'll briefly summarize. So DIISHA is signifies a bold ambition from ease of doing business to be able to digitally transform the Indian healthcare ecosystem and with the ambition also of addressing some of the most significant challenges in the healthcare system that India has been grappling with for the last 75 years. I think the challenges are rooted in one basic fact, that is that 60% of rural India is grossly underserved. That is the big problem statement. Because of this issue, we have a significant issue on timely screening of healthcare conditions that leads to unacceptably high mortality rates. If you start to look at some of the mortality rates, 60% of all deaths in India occur due to non-communicable diseases. Diseases that have either not been detected or they have been detected late. When you start looking at some other of these stark facts, 25% of all day one newborn deaths occur in India. 50,000 pregnant women die every year in India. हेमा जी बैठी हैं, मुरली कृष्णा फार्मा, जो बहुत ही ज़्यादा इन लोगों ने एफर्ट फोकस लगाया है एनीमिया पे, and she will be able to give you a lot more comprehensive, holistic data on anemia. But suffice to say that 57% of Indian women in the reproductive age group of 15 to 49 suffer from anemia. This is a data of National Health Family Survey of 2019. And this is 4% more than the anemia rates conducted by National Health Family Survey 2014. That is the scale of the challenge. The second one is something that the video pointed out, is that for 60% of this rural area, there is virtually one touch point of healthcare access, and that is ASHA worker. And the role that they played during COVID was pivotal. So we recognize them, the whole world appreciated, and to use the language of the video, एक रत्न निकला आया उस सागर मंथन में से हमारे लिए. मगर ये जो रत्न है वो that रत्न is undertrained, underskilled, it's overburdened, hugely overburdened, and it is poorly incentivized, right? The third part is data itself, that in India we still lack an effective, coherent healthcare ecosystem that will help generate and deliver meaningful grassroots data. That becomes critical if we have to do effective disease surveillance and population health management. And the fourth part, which is also described as the ability to address it, is that we lack adequate funding. As a nation, we lack adequate funding to be able to deliver on this gigantic task of healthcare capacity and capability building. Right? And that basically has the cascading vicious cycle of the fact that we will not be able to access and effectively target the existing programs that are already in place for the last 15-20 years to be able to drive better patient treatment and outcomes. So those are the four kind of big challenges which, you go to the next slide, I am going to quickly cover, and then I'll hand over the floor back to Abhijit ji. I think when it comes down to the fact of ASHA, the ASHAs, the ambition of DIISHA is to be able to digitally upskill and train the ASHAs so that the ASHAs, using the most modern screening solutions and medical devices, is able to provide quality care at the doorstep of the patient in the village. And the platform, which is an expert system AI platform screening solution, is being validated through a pilot previously done. Abhijit ji ने उसके बारे में उसका व्याख्यान किया था कि वो नीति आयोग के सुपरविजन में हुआ था दो साल पहले. And that platform allows you to immediately flag high-risk patients with one or more non-communicable diseases and generate high-quality patient reports that will basically feed into longitudinal care, starting with medical officers at the primary health level and going to district hospital level. So that is with respect to ASHA upgradation. Second issue is, why should ASHAs do all of this? Where are the incentives? The ambition and the focus of this pilot is that ASHAs will be reimbursed by redirecting the existing national and state health and welfare programs through DBT to the beneficiary. Second aspect I wanted to touch upon is data. The data that will be generated from these medical screenings and interventions is going to be the first time that you will be able to generate meaningful grassroots data at village, block, district level for multiple disease conditions eventually. That is going to inform how these people are going to be trained. The second is about the quality of the data, and that is where today's conversation becomes very important. That the quality of the data will be validated through a multi-level validation system that will ensure that the data is authentic, the data is, so it leads to transparency, it leads to accountability, and it leads to better analytics. So that's the data part of it. The third part of this is going to be financing. It's a very big part, and this is a part that has constantly been underplayed, right? So the financing is something which is a very innovative model called the annuity model, DHAM. DHAM is an annuity-based model. Basically, what DHAM serves to do is basically to be able to potentially significantly monetize the data that is now being recorded, that is going to be curated, and then it is going to be mobilized on paid API platforms that is going to generate a cumulative annuity over time. The role of the government, as is visualized by DIISHA, is that the government will serve to kickstart this through patching of finances by redirecting money from the already existing programs. There are so many programs that are going on. National Rural Health Mission ki baat kari Abhijit ji ne, the reproductive maternal child health plus adolescent program, anemia, Mukh Bharat, tuberculosis, Mukh Bharat. I can reel off X number of programs, and I can also start to equate the thousands and thousands of crores that are sitting in all of these programs. So the government's role is to basically kickstart this to drive domestic and foreign investment. And the government role will be to patch it initially, and then it will also signify, most importantly, an exit for the government. So the government does not become the sole financier which has to do 100% of the heavy lifting on funding and financing of healthcare. The third element of this in DIISHA is also, DIISHA has uniquely positioned to absorb funds from this public-private partnership, also for a patching period that will allow the annuity to take over time, and to make this program financially sustainable, and operationally it will become autonomous, because when the number of partners, technology, healthcare service delivery, medical devices, and medical services will come into it, this will drive its own financing. The fourth piece of the funding model is that the huge amount of data will act as a very significant fourth lever when the state governments go out to woo foreign investors to come in, to invest in healthcare. Beyond the usual, 3 or 4 things that the states usually give, land, lease, manpower. Now the fourth piece is data. That is going to basically allow for them to give meaningful insights on why foreign multinationals and large people with capital will come in. And then, so I've touched upon 3, and then the final is what is called, this is going to allow, DIISHA is going to allow in a huge way to basically set up an Atmanirbhar startup ecosystem in India through its ability, providing the environment to test, design, test, deploy the latest technologies through a open source technology platform. So that is, I think, in summary, DIISHA for you, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I'm going to hand this over back to Abhijit ji. Thank you.